I love camping. I don't do it as much as I would like to, but when I do, I usually camp in my 2005 Subaru Forester, something I've called the adventure wagon all of these years. Let me show you exactly how I camp. This, of course, on the passenger side is where I sleep. This is where I cook with this kitchen that I built myself. I store things in a whole bunch of different places, like behind seats, under seats, even on seats, depending on what the item is. Also, to keep things private and cool, I use these homemade window shades and vents that I made for the rear windows. Well, there's window shades in every window, it's just the vents that are for the rear. Now, I have camped in this setup for the last 3 or so years, and I have some notes on the camping setup. I think the worst offender in this entire thing is the camp kitchen. It's not built very well. The drawers don't slide very easily. I even had this storage area down here for container, and the container doesn't even fit in the storage area. It was just kind of a poor build overall. Not too bad for a first iteration, but I would have done it way better. I also can't open my cooler like this with it up here. This is usually only in travel mode. If I do need to use my cooler, I'll move it down where the bed is. I'll fold the bed in half and then put this down there, but it definitely wasn't my original intent for it. Also, if I need anything from the kitchen, I either have to get it from here or here or here, which is just too many different spots for it to be. If I need to access anything in the trunk area, like underneath the floor here in the factory trunk, I basically would have to take everything out of here to get in there, and that doesn't work either. But most of all, it has the potential to be something better. That something better starts right now. This is my plan for my camper conversion. It's a platform-based setup that will sit between my front seats and my rear hatch, and it'll be split up into a few sections. On the driver's side behind my seat will be the base camp. This consists of a shelf for my cooler, a shelving unit for specific camping supplies, and then at the back will be a chuck box camp kitchen for all of my cooking needs. On the passenger side will be my bed platform with a few hinged sections. There'll be a section at the front and a section at the back with access to storage underneath. This is my new video mantra, by the way. It's not about making the perfect video, it's about optimizing how you make them while injecting your artistic flavor. With the plan ready to go, it was time to prep the car for the conversion itself. And to do that, I needed to remove the rear seat cushions, the rear cargo area, and the rear seats themselves. Once that was complete, I took down some measurements and bought the materials to get this started. It's a few days later. I've taken all of the interior bits out that I wanted to take out, including some sound deadening I had put in the spare wheel well a while back. I also realized that I wasn't using the wrench mic for the intro of this video, so I apologize for that. We're here now. We're good to go. I asked you guys on my community post here on YouTube whether you wanted this to be one long video from start to finish, or if you wanted episodes where I could go into more detail about each part of the process, and you guys picked the second option. So we will go into more detail as we're building things. And the reason why it is a few days later is because I had to wait on materials, but the materials are finally here. So let's take a look at what we're working with. So we are going to be building the frame for this camper conversion out of extruded aluminum. If you don't know what extruded aluminum is, it's basically aluminum that has been heated up and shaped into the shape that we have here. This is kind of a more standard style of extruded aluminum, but My Yakima rack is also made out of extruded aluminum, and most crossbars nowadays are made out of this stuff. So this is going to be perfect for what we need. This is 30-30 extruded aluminum, which means it is 30 inches wide by 30 inches tall. Basically, the square part of it makes it 30-30. I have two different lengths here. This is 78.7 inches, and this is 48 inches. The reason why the inch measurements are so kind of random, especially with these longer ones, is because these are European, which means they're measured in millimeters, not inches. So these are actually 2,000 millimeters, I believe, long, and then these are 1,220 millimeters long, but 1,220 is 14 inches exactly, and these are 78.7. Really doesn't matter. All that matters is that it's bigger than what we need for the platform, and we'll have to do some cutting to make everything work. Just to go over my measurements here, I measured all of the longer pieces to 60 inches exactly. I just used my knife here to score them because it's super easy to scratch this black paint, which I found out is very true a lot later. I just double checked all of my measurements on each piece individually, and then I could cut it. For our shorter pieces, which will be the ends, I measured them out to 37 inches. So now I have all of our main frame pieces cut, so we're going to assemble them. To assemble this entire frame, I have two different brackets to use. The first is this joint plate, so it's just a flat plate, and these usually go on top of the pieces that you want to connect, although I think I'm going to put mine on the bottom just because of how the screws are. I don't want to have to worry about additional thickness messing up my measurements. And then the other kind are these little corner brackets, and these will be used for the legs and other things that I need to attach to the frame. So let's get this frame together and start cutting up pieces for the feet. When putting this frame together, I sectioned out all of the pieces into essentially thirds. So one section where the base camp will go is about 13 inches wide, and then the bed platform side is a full 24 inches wide. So it's split up into offset thirds, basically, which 1/3 being the base camp and then 2/3 being the bed platform. Once I put the frame together and lined it all up, it was time to start making the legs. I now have trust issues with that clamp. Softener aside, I cut two different lengths of extrusion. I cut longer 13-inch pieces of extrusion, and then I cut 4 small 2-inch pieces. But in order for the feet to fit in the 2-inch pieces, I had to drill out the center hole so that the threaded length of the foot could go inside of the extrusion itself. Then I just put the feet on, and after that I could mount my small feet and my longer legs to the frame itself, which unfortunately involved having to take the frame apart, which you'll see in this video I had to do quite a few times. This is one of the reasons why I plan to build this as I go instead of trying to put everything together, because already things are off. You might not be able to tell from this angle, so I'll put some B-roll in if need be, but right now both middle feet are not touching the floor. And that's because I made the front legs too long. I was double questioning my measurements. So fortunately, they're too long. That's easy to fix. Unlike if they were too short, it would be harder to fix. But the other thing is that this is not touching the back. This should be all the way to the back. There's a gap in between the frame and the back of the car, and that's also because of these legs. I just didn't put them in the right place. These should not be on the sides. They should be on the front edge instead. So I'm going to fix those two things, and then we'll see how the frame fits after that. It's a new day. I've adjusted all of the legs. I had to make some modifications to make everything work, but everything is now level, unless of course my driveway isn't level, which it very much is not level, but we have the ability to adjust if needed. So the basis of the frame is done. So now we need to focus on all the additional parts of the frame. We need some extra supports in here, and that's what we're going to do next. But once we do those, this frame should be done. I measured the gaps between the longer rails on the frame to get the lengths for our support slats. I also made these side wings that will support any platform that goes outside of the frame behind the strut towers, which I absolutely plan to do. All I had left to do was mount the support slats in the wings to the frame and put them in their correct spots. Okay, and here we have our finished frame. I'm pretty content with how it came out. It wasn't exactly what I planned originally, but then again, that's kind of how these things go. You don't always get what you originally planned. One change that I noticed that I wanted to make was kind of in the middle. It bows quite a bit when I put my weight on it, and that's not the most ideal, so I may add another support. Maybe when I put the bed platform on, it might not be as bad. I did notice when I try to put my weight on both, it doesn't really bow both of them at once, so maybe I just need to bolt them together somehow. I got some extra bracketry I could use. This black paint, as sleek as it looks, scratches super easily, and I wish I kind of known that before I bought it, because I would have just bought the silver instead of the black. I thought the black would look cleaner, and it does, but, you know, not when it's scratched up like that. I might just have to go through with some satin, like, touch-up paint and just touch up some of the scratches where I can. But, yeah, I'd say this frame came out pretty good. I think it's very usable. I do need to go through and tighten all the screws a little better, because I noticed they come loose pretty easily, and I would hate for that to happen while I'm on the road. So, yeah, it's kind of it for this episode. In the next one, we're actually going to make this look a little bit more like a camping setup, but it always starts with the foundation. So, if you want to see in that episode, I recommend you subscribe, or if you're watching this later, it might already be up, and it might be in this playlist over there. So, yeah, check it out, and I'll see you next time.